time, but this morning we are checking out AIrservices Australia's Sydney Tower, otherwise known as air traffic control, and these guys are in charge of all of the movement of all of the aircrafts in and around Sydney Airport, which is our busiest airport by far in this country. If you can believe it, 900 flights in and out of Sydney Airport every single day. So these guys certainly have a tough task in managing that daily. We'll tell you a little bit more though straight after we take a look at your weather and see what's forecast. Well, the game of air traffic control has been described as a giant game of 3D chess. They have so many things to control, whether it be incoming or outgoing aircrafts, whether they're late, their early curfews, and also weather details as well. So they really have a tough task in managing all of that, but they are the masters of making sure that this airport runs as smoothly and as safely as possible. So we're going to be checking that all throughout the morning. But if you have ever wondered, Carl, Lisa, about what appears to be a giant slippery dip around the air traffic control tower, I have unfortunately been informed this morning that it is not a slide, it is stairs. So that's something that's really not made my day, but we'll still go up there and check it all out throughout the morning.
Yeah, Stevie was scared of us.
Good morning to you, Lisa and Carl. A lot of aircraft movement happening at Sydney Airport this morning. We have moved upstairs to AIrservices Australia's Sydney Tower, which is otherwise known as air traffic control. And the morning is often considered the busiest time of the day at Sydney Airport, which is one of our busiest right across the country. A lot of international and domestic planes landing in the morning, but also taking off for their morning journeys, particularly that Sydney to Melbourne route, which is now the fourth busiest city pair route right across the country. Pretty crazy stuff. We're not going to bother the guys upstairs at the moment, but I can tell you, if you are in Sydney and you're about to head on to the M5 or General Holmes Drive, we've got a terrific view at the moment, and it is starting to slow down. So just a little bit of traffic news before we get into your weather news and see what's happening with your maps right about now. Starting off in Queensland and in Cairns. Well, that you're taking a look at the moment is the terminal control unit, which is west of the main runway here at Sydney Airport, the old control tower facility. But if we take a look inside, they have plenty of high-tech radar screens inside this terminal control unit, which monitor the airspace in and out of the airport, and also the sequencing of the aircraft as well, which are coming in and out of Sydney Airport. On the approach, though, the responsibility does shift to the control tower unit for the aircraft to land, and they are also responsible for the runways and taxiways. We call this the ATC tower. A little bit of lingo there, but you can see there's a lot of coordination that does happen between a lot of different departments, buildings, and also people as well. Good morning to you, Lisa and Carl. We've actually moved inside to the AIrservices Australia Air Traffic Control Tower here at Sydney Airport. We're trying to be a little bit quiet because these guys are obviously very busy this morning. Peak hour of aircraft traffic coming in and out of the airport. A lot of things to be done here, and there's quite a few processes involved. We'll tell you a few of those after we get into your weather and see what's forecast for your neck of the woods right about now. Starting off in Cairns today, it's a pretty complex process. They divide it up into domestic and international aircraft travel, and we've got a couple of the guys here at the moment. We've got Margaret, who is the tower controller. If you just come and have a look, Sammy, at what these guys do, and also Lucas, who is the ground controller. Basically, if a plane is coming in to land, Margaret will help it land and also take off, but then Lucas will be in charge of making sure that they make their way to the gate, and this is what they use to convey all that information to each other. It's not done verbally, it's done by this, which is like a little flicker thing that they flick with all the information. This one is a Cathay Pacific flight 110, I think. And you can flick the information to each other, and that's how they keep track of where all the aircrafts are. They stack them, they pack them, and make sure that they're all in line so that they can land and take off as smoothly and as safely as possible. Pretty impressive stuff. We'll be checking out the international side of things in the next little while, Carl, Lisa.
Yeah, don't distract them now.
Yeah, no. Good morning to you, Lisa and Carl. Pretty busy here at Air Traffic Control with AIrservices Australia this morning. 2 runways in operation at the moment, intricate operations happening, a lot of coordination happening between the people up here as well. And to give us a little bit more of a lowdown, we'll have a chat to one of the line managers here at the tower straight after we take a look at your weather and see what's happening. Well, Wayne Lewis is one of the line managers here at AIrservices Australia, and he is in charge of a lot of different operations here, particularly the international side of things is pretty interesting. Wayne, how many international carriers would we see coming in and out of Sydney Airport daily?
Okay, as we spoke before, the traffic growth at the airport's been quite phenomenal over the last sort of period. A lot of that we've seen on the international side of things. Pretty much the traffic split. We're running almost 1,000 movements a day at the airport, and of that, it's split pretty much 70-30 between domestic and international traffic. There's approximately 30 to 35 international operators that operate out of the airport, and we're seeing the biggest growth out of China at the moment. A lot of additional airlines have started flying into Sydney, so we've seen a massive amount of growth coming out of that sector.
It's pretty interesting stuff and a lot of things happening here this morning, so we should probably remain quiet.
You guys are okay.
We'll be back shortly, guys.
And there's a QF flight coming in from Brizzy. You mind bringing it in for us, live?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, over there. There's a flight over there.
Yeah, there you go.
Do we know what that is?
The one just touching down is one of our Qantas guys. If we have a look at the radar behind us, that's Qantas 6.
Perfect
and he's
sponsorship
just
time.
landed from
Nance.
Singapore. So he's just in from Singapore this morning.
Yeah, Singapore.
Hey, Nems.
Good morning to you, Carl. If you are an aviation nut, then this morning has definitely been for you. We've been checking out AIrservices Australia's control tower here at Sydney Airport, and we're going to take a further look at all the planes in the airspace after we take a look at your weather and see what's happening right about now at your place. If you are in Cairns, a couple of 34 degrees. Well, this is radar number 1, which shows us all the planes on the runways and on the tarmacs. At the moment, they might be taxiing to go back to the gate or going out to fly somewhere else. But this is the other one that shows you all of the aircraft currently in the airspace above us. And I have been given permission to press one button this morning. Am I okay to press it, Wayne? Okay, so this is about 20k radius at the moment around Sydney Airport. You can probably see about 10 planes flying above us, but if we just press this, only one button? Only one button.
Eject goose. Eject goose.
If we press this one, we can go out to about 300 k's out of Sydney, and you can probably see, what, 200 or 300 aircraft flying in the airspace above us at the moment. Just gives you an indication of how busy it is on a daily basis, particularly in the morning between about 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. where there is a peak kind of traffic in and out of Sydney Airport, those main commutes between Sydney and Melbourne and Sydney and Brizzy. Pretty fascinating stuff. Can I touch any more buttons? Not today.
The lift down.
She's gone power crazy.
Thank you for that, Nems. They do a great job, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, morning to you, Fordo. We have had a really interesting morning here at Air Traffic Control with AIrservices Australia at their Sydney Tower this morning, learning about how they managed to control all of those planes coming in and out of Sydney Airport. We've left them alone upstairs for a little time this morning because they are very busy, peak time at the moment, and it's only going to get busier. This year there will be 70,000 more incoming and outgoing aircrafts at Sydney Airport than there was 10 years ago. So air travel is definitely on the increase. A little bit blowy here in Sydney. We'll take a look at your weather for the final time today and see what's got to tip your hat to the guys at AIrservices Australia. Thanks to them for having us this morning, but they do an amazing job, because if there's a delay here in Sydney, there's usually a knock-on effect to all of the other capital cities' airports as well. So they do an amazing job in keeping things running smoothly and safely. If you want any more information on what they do, or maybe becoming an air traffic controller yourself, you can head to the website, which is airservicesaustralia.com. A really interesting morning.